Hi, I'm Lore and today I bring you a tutorial on how I paint a humpback whale. There's a tutorial on how I paint a whale on my channel already, that it was from many years ago, but since it's one of the most popular videos, probably because it's a humpback whale and you guys seem to really love whales, I decided to make a new one, but with better quality and more detail. Also, I think that during the years my technique has improved a little bit, so it would be nice to have an updated tutorial on how I paint a humpback whale. I hope that you enjoy this video. Let's dive in! For this tutorial you will need a watercolor paper, watercolor paints, some brushes, 2 water cups, a paper napkin, a pencil or a mechanical pencil, some fine liners or color pencils, a white gel pen, and if you can use masking fluid like I will. Or you can skip it and use instead the white gel pen or a white Posca at the end. Unless you know exactly how a whale looks and moves, you'll need some reference photos of a humpback whale. You can look for these on Unsplash, Pixabay or even Pinterest. The first step, as always, will be to sketch the whale. So get your watercolor paper and the pencil and start drawing the whale in the middle of the page. Make sure not to press too much in case you need to erase some lines. Also, think about the composition and try to fit the whale or whales nicely on your paper. Once you have finished your sketch, it's time to preserve the white dots of the whale, only if you will be using masking fluid. If not, you can skip this part and start with the next step. So, take your masking fluid and a round tool to apply it, and place dots of masking fluid where those white bumps on the whale's skin are, like on the face and some around the belly and the fins. Then let it dry before painting. The next step would be to paint the first watercolor layers using a wet on wet technique. That means that we will be playing with very wet paint at this stage, and that the layers of paint will be wet, so they will blend into each other. As always, when painting with watercolors, we want to start with the lightest colors first, so we will add those different light blue and light gray undertones. Take the pressure off at this stage and let the colors flow and mix between them. You can even drop some clean water on your painted area and see how this affects the watercolor layer you have below. It will create a nice texture that I think it looks great when you are painting ocean animals or ocean theme. Also, remember to leave the white of the paper for the white areas, like the white belly, or use a very light undertone. When that first layer is dry, we can continue by adding more watercolor layers. I'm going to paint on top with more saturated colors, especially in the areas of the whale that are darker. Now we are using the wet on dry technique, because the first layers are already dry, so the new color layer won't bleed, and it will be a more defined area. This is perfect to add more definition to your painting, and it will bring your whale to life. But for the less contrasted areas of the whale, we want the colors to flow, so I'm blending and transitioning those colors, so there are no sharp contrasts. You can keep adding layers until you're happy with the contrast and colors of the whale. And remember that you can use a paper tissue to clean the excess of water or paint, or you can use a clean brush to remove some paint if you need it. Once your painting is dry, again, it's time to paint the little details on the whale, like the eye or the lines on the belly. And also we'll add some texture on the skin and fins. You can use a thinner brush for the details, and if you have one, you can use a rake brush like mine to help you paint those fine lines and textures that the whales have on the skin, using a medium or a light tone. Try not to overdo it and just make those special marks only on some areas of the skin, like those that are meant to be closer to the spectator. Once you are happy with your painting so far, you will need to let it dry completely. And then you can finally take off the masking fluid from your painting, only if you used it, of course. To do this, you can use either your fingertips or an eraser. Be careful not to rub too hard or you could damage the paper. At this point, it's time to study the reference picture again and see if you need to make some adjustments. Maybe add a little more contrast here and there, or make some of those white dots less bright by applying a very thin layer on top. To finish the painting, we are going to add some more details and outlines with a fine liner to define the shape, and some white lines, dots and details with a white gel pen to give a little bit more of texture. And this is how I paint my whales. Now you can do it too. I hope you enjoyed this new Humpback Whale tutorial. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for supporting my work. See you next Friday with another video. Bye!